In the following lesson, I want to talk about filters, so Photoshop filters from the top menu bar here, and also want to talk about external plugins, which are down here. So again, under our filter menu at the top, right away, we have again a few options here, like liquify, lens correction, stuff we talked about. Underneath, then again, we also have a few filters that you can apply directly to a certain layer. And underneath that, we have external plugins, which you need to buy and install into Photoshop. And some are also for free. But more about that later in the lesson. Let's start right away out now. We first of all have just our normal layer selected, layer number 1. If I now head over to filter and go, for instance, to a filter setting here, something like blur, you'll see that as our main option. And then over here, we have a few more sub options. So now I'm going to choose to go to blur, and we're going to go to Gaussian blur. Okay, so Gaussian blur is selected. Right away, you will also get to see the new screen pops up, a little window. And you also have an option here to refine the filter just a little bit. So right away, again, you'll see here is a zoom in and out screen. And again, a preview over here, which I've also would leave ticked. So it shows right away on our big image as well. And then down here, you have the values. So you can now tweak this filter individually and make something unique with this. Say, for instance, I'm going to go with 100 radius now. You right away see that our whole image will be blurred completely. If I now hit OK, it will be also applied directly to my layer. So we also discussed this again in the layers chapter. When you now continue with your Photoshop process and you continue Photoshopping like this, then at a later stage you want to go back and you can't change this anymore because it has been applied directly to this layer 1. So again, remember we talked about this earlier. Again, let's go a step back. Rather create a smart object from this layer. So again, I'll move this onto the new layer icon. I'll rename this quickly to a smart object. But remember, this is not a smart object right now. So first of all, we need to hit right click and say convert to a smart object. Okay, so you're working non-destructive now. Then once you hit back to filter, go back to blur and go back to Gaussian blur, we'll do exactly the same effect and also with 100 pixels blurring. Hit OK. This will be applied as a smart filter again under the smart object, which we've also talked about. So now you also have again the option to turn the visibility on or off. And you're also able now to go to Gaussian blur, double click on this, and again at a future state, tweak this again and just tweak it to your new settings. Hit OK, and right away you can continue with your Photoshop process. No need to start over or do something else. Great, let's also do something more to this. First of all, I had Gaussian blur already. So let's actually go and delete the smart filter. You literally just hit right click on here. Delete the smart filter. And we're going to go and do some sharpening now. So let's zoom in a little bit so we can actually get to see the effect. I'm going to go to filter and we're going to go to sharpen. And in here you have a few more options. Again, sharpen edges, sharpen a bit more, sharpen smarter or sharper. And also, again, just normal sharpen. I'm just going to work with the normal sharpen to show you guys that this will be applied directly now to your layer. As you can see, again, has been applied just the normal overall sharpening. But you can also go back to filter and do this whole process again. Sharpen and sharpen once more. So you can do this over and over until you're happy with this. So again, you can do the effect over and over in order to get more, or just turn it off again. You can also go back to filter, go to sharpen and say smart sharpen. So again, over here, you have a whole new window to tweak this even more. So again, you can tweak the amount, you can tweak the radius, again, reduce noise, and play a little bit more with these settings until you are happy. Remember, here's also a little preview, plus you also get to see this over here. Once you hit OK, it will be applied right away. And as you guys can see, it sharpens it way too much. It's just a lot of detail. But again, you can always fall back here into the smart filters and also change this. So again, over here, one can change this again. Great. I'm actually going to turn all of this off and show you guys one more technique that I also use here with external plugins. So once you get a bit more advanced with Photoshop, you'll also go to filter and have maybe plugins that will be installed into your Photoshop here. So say for instance something like Nik Software Color FX Pro 4. You can also find this again on Google. All right, so what I'll do is just create again a new layer. I'll just create a normal, just a normal layer, not a smart object. Okay, let's go to filter and just quickly show you this Color FX Pro 4. And right away, a new plugin will be loaded into your Photoshop. So this is an external plugin, a software that runs aside from Photoshop And you are now able to have a few more filters in here with colors. You're able to see a before and after here, and you're able to over here to tweak all your effects. Once you are done, you literally just hit OK, and this will be applied directly to your image. So say for instance over here we like Glamour Glow. We go and change the glow a little bit. Again, you guys get also to see what this effect does. So head over to zoom a bit closer, maybe something like 100%. And again, you guys can see what this Gaussian or this glow actually does. Change the warmth a little bit of this. Okay, so let's actually move back to 25%. Then let's also go and create something really weird, something like ink. And we just get a really weird cover here onto our image. Again, tweak this down a little bit. Something like that. And if I hit OK now, this will be applied directly again to my layer. Photoshop is just rendering a little bit, so it won't show up right now. But again, showing you guys that you have filters here. And again, you can also work here with external plugins. Also take a look again in the bonus section. I've also added again onto our list another tutorial where you can learn more about Photoshop plugins, external plugins, if this is in your interest.